Students, are you able to see the PPT?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in this lecture, we will discuss about SCR, right? So theoretical type of questions will come from this topic. Okay. So the construction and symbol of SCR. So it is a three terminal, three junction device. Okay. Three terminal, like a transistor. It is a three terminal, but junctions are three. Okay. So here you can find in this diagram, there are three terminal. One terminal is anode, right? And one terminal is cathode. And it is like PNPN. From this side, if you read, it is PNPN, or from this side, if you read, it is NPNP, right? So what you do, the extremely see that there are two outermost materials, like this side you have P and this side you have N, right? So wherever you have P material, that end will be your is called as anode, right? This end is called as anode, and the material which is N material, from there we have taken some output, that is called as cathode, right? Okay. And there are three, so there are three junctions. One is J1, another is J2, another is J3. These are the three junctions. Okay. So it was invented in 1957. It is used as a controlled switch to perform a rectification and regulation of power flow, right? So see, suppose the output of a full wave rectifier without a filter is this, right? Then by using SCR, what we can do, we can we can turn on the circuit only for this section. We can turn on the circuit only for this section. You can get output only this shaded area. So this type of things can be done by using SCR. Okay. So it perform rectification, controlled rectification, right? You can control, that is called as firing angle. When you want to fire your SCR, only at that time you will get the output. It can handle current up to several thousand amperes at voltage 1 kilovolt and more. So its current carrying capacity is very high as compared to normal PN junction diode. Its current carrying capacity is very high. It is also called as thyristor. So three terminals of SCR are one terminal from the outer P type material. So as I told you, outer P type material, this. From there we will take one terminal, and this is called as anode A. Second terminal from the outer N type material. So outer N type material is this. From here you will take one terminal. You will take one terminal, and this terminal is called as cathode. Now the third terminal from the base of NPN transistor. Now here now you see where is the base of NPN transistor. NPN. Suppose there is a NPN transistor. So where you find the NPN transistor here? This section. You can find NPN type of transistor. NPN. So the base of that is your third terminal, that is called as gate. This is your gate terminal denoted by G. Okay. So how to identify the terminals? So suppose if this is a SCR, suppose this is P, N, P, N. First thing, the outermost N material, from here you take one terminal and this is your cathode. Outermost P material, from here you take one terminal, this is your anode. And now you see where is your NPN type of transistor is forming. Here it is forming NPN type of transistor. So see the base of that. This is your third terminal called as gate. In this way you can identify. And its symbol is like a diode, you can say. And from here you take like this. Its symbol is this. So this is your anode. This is your cathode and this is your gate, right? Okay. Now some important terms are here. One is breakover voltage. So it is the minimum forward voltage with gate open at which SCR starts conducting heavily, that is turned on. So now here gate open means you don't connect any voltage to gate, right? It is open. Now under this condition, the voltage at which this SCR turn on is called as breakover voltage. So it is the minimum forward voltage with gate open at which SCR starts conducting, SCR turns on, right? Its range is its range is 50 to 500 volts. So generally, if you want to turn on the SCR, then you have to apply a forward voltage of 50 volt to 500 volt, depending upon particular rating of a SCR, then it will turn on. Only thing is you must know voltage is applied to the gate. Then peak reverse voltage. It is the maximum reverse voltage that can be applied to an SCR without conducting it in reverse direction. See, if you see the normal PN junction VI characteristic, it is like this. Now reverse. This is reverse voltage. You apply the reverse voltage, reverse bias to a PN junction diode. So now suppose you are applying a reverse voltage and after certain voltage only it starts, you will find a high current, right? So this much voltage, when the diode is not on, same way if when the SCR is not on in the reverse bias condition, so this voltage here, this is called as peak reverse voltage. This, right? This is peak reverse voltage. So it is the maximum reverse voltage. Reverse voltage means cathode positive with respect to anode. See, if I say forward voltage means anode is positive, cathode is negative. This is your forward voltage. So under forward bias, under forward voltage, if you apply positive voltage to the anode and negative voltage to the cathode, then the voltage at which this SCR starts conducting, that is called as breakover voltage, right? First point. And if you connect this SCR under reverse bias condition means anode is negative and cathode is positive. So now this is the reverse voltage. This is the reverse voltage. So under reverse voltage, up to the voltage till the SCR is not conducting the current, that voltage is called, that maximum voltage is called as reverse, peak reverse voltage. This, okay. Then holding current. It is maximum anode current, gate being open. Under the condition gate is open, right? It is a maximum anode current when gate is open, at which SCR is turned off from on state. So you see here, now your gate is open, and let us assume we have applied a voltage and your this SCR is on. This SCR is on, right? Now we are reducing this forward voltage. Once SCR is on, so some current is flowing through this anode, right? This current is flowing through the anode. I call it as anode current, right? Now we start reducing this forward voltage. Then SCR will remain on. So, but the value of this current, anode current, will decrease. So the current at which the SCR turned from on to off state, is called as holding current, right? So holding current, it is the maximum anode current with gate open at which SCR is turned off from on state, right? So these are some important terms. Now we see the working of SCR here under three cases. So first thing you must remember, load is always connected in series with anode, right? You have to connect some load resistor. So where you will connect that load resistor? So it must be connected in series with anode. So see this example here. This is your anode. This is your cathode. So I have connected this load resistor RL, which is in series with anode, right here. Then second point, anode is always kept positive with respect to cathode. So anode should always be positive with respect to cathode. So I have connected here this battery, this voltage. Here this end is positive and this end is negative, right? And here there is a gate. So here also you can apply the voltage or you can keep it open. So first we will see the working of this SCR when the gate is open. Okay. So the symbol for this circuit with the connection is shown here. This is anode, this is cathode, this is gate, and with the anode I have connected one load resistor and here one battery, right? So here what will happen? This anode is positive and this cathode is negative, right? So now what will happen? Whole this positive voltage is appeared here at this N material, and this negative voltage is appeared here, right? So now under this condition, when gate is open, junction J1 and junction J3 are forward biased. So you can see this P material is connected to positive terminal, N material is connected to negative terminal. So junction J3 and J1 are forward bias. But junction J2, this J2, this junction is reverse bias, right? So if this junction is reverse bias, So no current, no anode current, no current will see from this side. Current will try to flow from this side in this way, right? In this way, current will try to flow. But since J2 is reverse bias, so this current will not flow because here junction J2 is reverse bias. So current through device is almost zero. Almost zero. So now this voltage, if you increase, then what will happen at one point of time, this voltage is that much high that junction J2 will break down and the current will start flowing through the device. Okay. And this is a very high voltage. At very high voltage, this SCR will turn on. Right. So to turn on the SCR, you have to break this junction J2. And this will happen at a high voltage. Under this first case when gate is open. Okay. Now you see the second case when gate is positive with respect to cathode. So now what I have done, here we will connect resistor load. This is RL. This is positive terminal of the battery, negative terminal of the battery. Positive terminal is connected to anode. Negative terminal is connected to cathode. Now at the gate terminal, what I have done, I have connected this gate. This is gate at positive with respect to cathode. This is cathode. With respect to cathode, this gate is positive. For that, I have connected one battery here, VG. Right. So now what this battery will do, this is a symbol circuit diagram. Now what this battery will do, this is the positive terminal of the battery. It is connected to P here, right? So now what it will do, it will break this junction at much lower voltage of this V. Earlier you have to apply a very high voltage, then only this breakdown of this junction takes place. But now here what will happen? In this circuit, you will find in this circuit, this is a forward bias circuit because see P material is positive, N is negative. This is forward bias. So with this forward bias through this circuit, some gate current is flowing. Now if this gate current will flow, then this anode current, this is anode current. I call it as IA, right? So it can also start flowing because this junction J2 will be broken at much lower voltage of this V. Okay. And if you increase this voltage VG, then current conduction will take place at much lower voltage. Right. So here what we are doing, what we can do to conduct this SCR, there is no need to connect a very high voltage. We can connect this VG so that some gate current starts flowing, IG. Right. So if some gate current is flowing, then at much lower voltage, this SCR will turn on. So here you can control the turning of SCR on by applying some voltage at the gate terminal. So here the conclusion, first point, the SCR has two states. Either it conduct heavily or it does not conduct, right? Only two states are there. Either it conduct or it does not conduct. There is no state in between. Therefore, SCR behave like a switch. So if there are only two states, either on state or off state, then it can act as a switch. Second point, there are two ways to turn on SCR. First method, keep the gate open and make the supply voltage equal to breakover voltage. So first case already I told you, make the gate open and apply the voltage at the anode and cathode which will be equal to the breakover voltage of this SCR. Then SCR will turn on. This is one method, but breakover voltage is very high. So you have to apply a very high voltage to turn on. Now, second method is operate SCR below breakover voltage and turn it on by means of a small voltage applied to the gate. So you apply a small voltage around 1.5 volt and 30 ampere current will flow. With that also you can turn on your SCR. So in this case SCR will turn on at much lower voltage, right? Now third point, to make SCR non-conducting, reduce the supply voltage to 0. These are the three conclusions. Now this characteristic you can see here, x-axis V, y-axis is I, right? So now here you see this VBO. So what we have done first we have made gate current 0. We have not applied any voltage at the gate terminal. So what will happen at this voltage? At this voltage, SCR will suddenly turn on, right? So this voltage is called as breakover voltage. This is breakover voltage. But here you see IG1. If you apply some voltage at the gate terminal, then some current will flow, gate current will flow. Let us assume this is your IG1. So now in this case, you can see your SCR is turning on at lower voltage. Your SCR is turning on at lower voltage. If you increase gate current, suppose it is IG2. So in this case, SCR will turn on at much lower voltage. If you increase the gate current to IG3, so again it will turn on at much lower voltage, right? So if you increase the gate current, then SCR will turn on at lower voltage. But once the SCR is on, then once the SCR is on, you can make the gate current 0. If SCR is on and if you have made the gate current 0, then also SCR will remain on. It will not off. To make the SCR off, what we have to do? This current flowing through we have to reduce this current. We have to reduce this current. How we can reduce the current? By reducing the voltage connected to the anode and cathode. So you reduce this voltage, current will reduce. Now at one point of time, this is the current below which the SCR will turn on. So this current is called as holding current, right? This current is holding current. So what is holding current? The current below which SCR is turned off is called as holding current. So always remember, to turn on the SCR, you apply the IG. Some voltage you apply and you get the IG current. But once the SCR is on, then IG, gate current, lose the control over the SCR. You can turn off SCR only in one condition: if you apply the voltage across the anode and cathode less, you reduce the voltage, then only you can turn off your SCR. In the reverse side, you see this is a reverse breakover voltage. This is reverse breakover voltage. Means the voltage after which the SCR breaks down. That is reverse breakover voltage. Okay, so this is about SCR. I will send you all these notes after this class.
Okay, sir.
And one more small topic is there. You can also see that. In examination, there will be definitely one theoretical question based on tunnel diode, UJT, and SCR. These type of things, devices are there in first unit. Tunnel diode we discussed last class. UJT. Now UJT you can see the. Okay, these are the notes. These notes I prepared this only, I will circulate, right? And UJT, where is UJT? Yeah, this. UJT is uni junction transistor, right? So as name suggests, it looks like transistor. If you see from the terminal, in point of view of the terminals, because it has 3 terminals, but it does not have any with two junctions, just like a transistor. So here you can see it is a 3 terminal device. One is emitter terminal, and there are 2 base terminals. One is base 1, another is base 2, right? B1 and B2. So it has 3 terminal like a transistor. Now here you can see what will be done. First, this n-type material will be taken. This is n-type material will be taken, right? And 2 terminals will be taken out from this. Then p-type material is fabricated in this region. From here you will take 3rd terminal. So this terminal which is coming out from p-type material, this is called as your emitter. Now you see this p material is much closer to this end, and see this end, it is away from this end. So the p material, the terminal which is closer to p material, this terminal is your B2. This is called as B2 terminal. And the terminal which is away from the p material, this is called as B1, right? This is your B1. So same thing you can see here. And now there is, you can find one PN junction, the PN junction. You can find one PN junction. So in transistor, there are 2 PN junctions, but in UJT, there is one PN junction. It is called a uni junction. One junction and transistor. Transistor because 3 terminals are there, right? Okay. And its symbol you can find in this way. This is emitter, and this arrow is marked near to this terminal B2, right? It is marked near to B2, and this is your B1. Okay. Okay. So here emitter is heavily doped. While construction, what engineers do, they heavily dope this emitter terminal, and base is lightly doped. Now the resistance between base terminals is very high, 5 to 10K. This, see, whatever material you have, it has certain resistance. Suppose this is your N material, right? This is your B2 and this is the B1, right? So it has some resistances. It offers some resistance. So the resistance between base terminal is in the range of 5K to 10K. It is lightly doped, due to that this resistance is high. And this resistance is called as interbase resistance, RBB. Okay. So interbase resistance, that is your RBB, is represented as 2 resistances in series. Like this. You can see here. This is one resistance and this is one resistance, right? So this you call it as RB1 and RB2, and this resistance is RB1. Okay, combinedly its value, it is your RBB. right? If you combine both of these, then it will be RBB. So RB2 is the resistance of silicon bar between B2 and emitter junction up to here. Up to here. Or you can say between these two. The resistance is RB2. And between emitter and B1, between this, the resistance is RB1. The PN junction is represented by a diode, right? We have this PN junction. This is P material, this is N material. So this you can represent by a diode like this. Okay. So with no voltage applied to UJT, if you will not apply any voltage, then your RBB is RB1 plus RB2. It is simple. Now, if VBB is applied between B1 and B2, like this, see here. When you apply the voltage, then what you have to do? B2 is connected to positive terminal of the battery and B1 is connected to negative terminal of the battery, right? And we have applied a voltage VBB this way. You apply a voltage, right? So now you can see here in this diagram. This is B2 terminal, this is B1 terminal. VBB is applied. This diode represents PN junction, right? This is emitter terminal. Okay. So now the voltage across RB1, this is your RB1, right? And this is your RB2. So now if you see this circuit diagram, then how it looks like? It looks like this. Right? This is VBB. This is R1 and RB2. RB2. This is RB1. And suppose if you want to find the voltage across this. Suppose this is V1. Then simply you apply the potential divider rule, right? Then voltage across this V1 will be written by potential divider rule you apply. It is RB1 divided by RB1 plus RB2 multiplied by voltage applied VBB. In this way you will get this voltage. Okay. So see here, if VB applied between B1 and B2 and emitter is open right now. So voltage across RB1 is RB1 divided by RB1 plus RB2 multiplied by VBB. Or so this is equal to V1. So this V2 VBB, this I brought towards the left side. So what we will get? V1 by VBB. So V1 by VBB, this will be equal to this part, RB1 divided by RB1 plus RB2. Okay. So this V1 by VBB is called as intrinsic standoff ratio, and it is represented by this eta. It is represented by eta. Okay. So therefore, eta is equal to RB1 divided by RB1 plus RB2. Okay, and the value of eta lies between this. During the construction of this UJT, we fabricate the N channel in such a way so that eta value lies between 0.51 to 0.82. And voltage across R1, this voltage across R1 is given by eta VBB. So see this voltage V1 is equal to RB1 divided by RB1 plus RB2 multiplies by VBB. And we know that RB1 by RB1 plus RB2, this is your eta. So eta VBB. You can express P1 by this eta VBB. Okay, this is about this. Now the operation. Case 1, when VEE is 0. So here you see this voltage you applied, this is 0. So if this is 0, then this is P terminal, right? And here this is the N terminal, because you see the construction, emitter is connected to P terminal, okay, and this side it is N type material. So now you see VE is 0, so P terminal is connected to 0. Now see this VBB voltage is applied, so across RB1 you will find a drop because current is flowing in this way. In this way current is flowing. So you will get a drop where here this side is positive and this side is negative, right? So N material is connected to positive terminal, positive voltage across RB1. So the V1 voltage drop across RB1 will make the N terminal of PN junction positive. Therefore, PN junction is reverse biased. So in this case, PN junction is under reverse bias condition, right? Because this end is positive, this end is 0. We have applied 0 volt, and this end is here this plus and minus. So this is plus. So this diode is reverse bias. So you will find this current, reverse bias current, IER. IER means emitter current under reverse bias condition. You will find very small reverse bias current is flowing. Okay. Now case 2, when VEE is increased. Now what we are doing, we are increasing this VEE. Right? We are increasing this VEE, and we have increased this VEE such that its value is equal to eta VBB. So this P terminal, we have increased this voltage so that this terminal is equal to eta VBB. This much voltage, right? Because this is the N terminal. N terminal voltage is this V1. This is positive and equal to V1. And what is V1? V1 is eta VBB. So now we have increased the VE voltage so that P and N terminal both are at same potential. So the current flow will stop. Same thing is written here in case 2. When VEE is increased and bring to a voltage eta VBB, then P terminal and N terminal both are at same potential, and current flow in emitter terminal stops. So current flow will stop. Now case 3, if you increase the VEE, which is greater than the V1 plus VD. What is this VD? This is 0.7 volt if the material silicon is used, and it is 0.3 volt if the material germanium is used, right? Potential barrier. So if the value of this VEE is greater than this 0.7, we are talking about silicon, plus V1. This is V1, right? If it is greater than this, then what will happen? This diode will become forward bias. This diode will become forward bias. And once the diode will become forward bias, right? So see here, when VEE is raised to a voltage VD plus V1, then PN junction becomes forward bias and forward current IEF starts flowing in emitter B1 terminal. So with this, what will happen? See, this is B1 terminal. This is your emitter terminal, like this, and this is B2, right? This is now positive voltage, and this side now like this. So now currents will start flowing in this emitter and B1 terminal. Now due to forward bias, holes from P region of UJT inducted in B1 of PN junction region. So what will happen here? This is a P region. Due to the forward bias, the holes in the P region will move towards this region, right? So if holes will come in this region, then holes are conductive in nature. So the conductivity of this section will increase. If conductivity will increase, then the resistance, and this resistance is RB1, this resistance will decrease, right? Because due to, see, if you make something forward bias, suppose this is P and this is N, you make it forward bias. If you make the forward bias, then holes from P side will move to N side. If more number of holes will be inducted in N side, so, and holes are a charge carrier, so the conductivity of N material is increased. If conductivity is increased, this means resistance is decreased. So now, due to the increment in charge carriers, holes, the RB1 will decrease, right? This RB1, it will decrease now. Now, if this will decrease, so voltage across this, that is V1, will also decrease. So this positive voltage will also decrease. Means N terminal is, this potential is decreasing. If this is decreasing, then P is fixed and N is less now. So what will happen? This PN junction diode will become more forward bias. If it is more forward bias, then more holes will be inducted in this region, in this region. If more holes will come, then again the resistance of RB1 will further decrease. If resistance will further decrease, then V1 will also decrease. And again the diode will be forward bias, more forward bias. So this process will continue. So now you can see here, when you start operating the UJT, then the value of this RB1, it will change. It will change. It is changing. Its value is decreasing. That's why in the diagram, that's why here you see in this diagram here. This RB1, it is shown as a variable resistance, right? Where RB2 is fixed, but RB1 is variable. Why? Because once you start operating UJT, then automatically this resistance starts decreasing, right? That's why it is variable resistance. Okay. Right. So this is the main working operation of the UJT. And this is a VI characteristic. So I will just send all these material on the same WhatsApp group, right? Okay, right.